actually get started. Before we do, I really want to thank you for the generosity of spirit of hosting me. For those of you who I got to visit in person, thank you so much. For those of you who Josh, I've lost you. What are you doing? You're wandering over there.
Gosh.
For those of you, Josh made me cake, by the way, so I'd just like to point that out. Many brownie points for that. For those of you who I still have to come and see, Matthew, sorry, but if you could ever park at your bloody location, I'd be a much happier person. And I'll be seeing those people next time round, so that will be grand. So I'm very excited about all of that, but thank you so much. This is our last formal presentation, and I'm actually getting, I'd like to say confident, but that's not quite true. I'm going to try and share 2 videos with you tonight, which could mean, yeah, I know, absolute, I've just lost Josh completely, he's left the room. Could be absolute hysteria, but I really hope you get to see them. They're 2 really short videos that I think are not only entertaining, but they'll add to the piquancy of the presentation. And tonight we're going to talk about leadership, influence and outcomes. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Anybody want to say anything before I start? Okay, no, thanks, Andy. What I'm going to do is, and as usual, I reckon this is about an hour to an hour and a quarter. It will be transcribed as a PDF, and you'll get the incredibly fabulous recording, which now, thanks to Jill's, I know not to make private, and I can actually let people have a look at it if you ever wanted to. The other thing I need to say to you is I sent you 2 takeaways. After having done that, I had realised that my seniors moment had really caught me, and I realised there was a 3rd one. I will send that to you when I send you the stuff about with the PDF and the video link and all that. Okay, here, let's try share a screen and let's see if we can get the show on the road. Okay, here we go. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about influence and outcomes, and before we do that, I just want to start and do a bit of a refresher. So we've got 3 workshops, and this is the last one, so it's a bit sad, but that's what happens. And as was pointed out, it's now week 7. You're a lot fresher in week 3. There are 3 professional conversations, and most people have had 2. And I'll catch up for the 3rd with everybody else. And everybody by the end of it will have at least 1 face-to-face professional conversation. Probably the good news is because we're not now stretched into having the planning meeting or the presentation in week 9, there's a bit more space to space them out better for you. The latest update is it's probably going to be Monday, week 2. That way Craig can join us all. So the 3 professional conversations. I've also put in here, there can be a planning conversation. Now that's just one that's up to you. If you want to ring me and talk through your presentation, we can organise that for later. And we'll talk about that after I've had my 3rd coach meeting with you. And then of course there's the presentations, and I'll talk to you a bit more about them tonight. And of course there've been the takeaways and any readings that, you know, I'd like to throw your way. Okay. This presentation again has got at the bottom of each slide, it's got, you know, the page it might have come from. It's also got a couple of different graphics on it because I got a bit bored with some of the others, but the pages are still the same. The graphics might be a bit different. Leading is like working on a puzzle without the cover, and I think that's pretty true most of the time. Okay, and this is the other one. The first rule of leadership is everything is your fault. Okay, now some of you, I've had some conversations with them. People have said, well, you know, I'm part of a team. I don't know how, but you are all paid as leaders now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord, for doing that for everybody. And you have either smaller teams or larger teams. And so that there is a significant hierarchical model that you're part of. And so you need to know that with that comes not only some really nice bits, but some actual responsibilities as well. And I don't know if everything is your fault, but it feels like it some days. I'm really passionate about trying to empower you more to tell stories. I think we forget that is our the culture of all cultures, what a stupid thing to say, but every culture has had the power of the story, whether it be the written story or the oral story, but it is the stuff that we hand down. I was out and about during the week visiting a number of you, and a couple of people said that one of the things that did resonate with them was that if they didn't tell the story of their own learning centre or better behaviour centre, then someone else would. And if you don't tell your own professional story, someone else will. And of course, all our voices are different. This is the stuff I believe that you've got to get the voice of your story right. And having spoken to you all, I have no doubts you can do that. Just have to have a bit more confidence, a few of you. When you do something, you mightn't always want to talk about, but I actually want to, why are you doing it? Because if there's no good reason to do it, that's why we tend not to do things. And when the why is strong enough, you work out the how. If any of you are ever interested, these cartoons are from a series called Gaping Void by one of my favourite artists. His name is Hugh McLeod. He'll send you a cartoon to your inbox. They're kind of like this all the time. If I was to show you my office, which I won't, but if I was to actually, there are about 5 of them that I've got framed as limited prints, and I give them away to people. My personal favourite, which is this one, which I'm just going to stare at because you'll see that, is never try to sell a meteor to a dinosaur. It wastes your time and annoys the dinosaur. That was for when I was trying to bring about school changes. Okay, the key is, of course, that you have to know yourself. You have to know the work. Remember, we get very little time to do that, and to be able to work with others. And there's a sweet spot in the middle, which is constantly moving. I'm also, having talked to a number of you, really keen again for you to understand that there are a significant number of things that will not be in your control. And how do you manage that, particularly if that is something that is driving you insane, is something that I would encourage you to talk about, whether it be with Kathleen or other people, about how you do that. And sometimes redefine success, about what is actually going to make a successful achievement. And that will come out when I talk about outcomes at the end. Well, I hope it does anyway. Okay. Okay, this is where it gets really tricky, because this is when I try and do it. I'm going to show you 2 videos. Now, you've just lived through a pandemic, and we might be going into phase 2. We're not still really sure. But the first video is called 2028. I normally show it to any group of school leaders. I think it's absolutely fabulous. Both videos only go for about 3 minutes. It was even more fabulous when I used to show it in, 2018, so it was only 20 years' time. It's 18 years' time, so if you think about it, children born this year will actually be finishing school when 2028 happens. So that's a bit of a scary thought, and I don't even want to think about how old I'll be. But let me stop sharing, and I apologise if this is going to stuff up completely, then we won't do it, but if we do, I cannot minimise Zoom. Okay, so let me just get rid of you lot. Let me get rid of that for a minute. Escape from that. It's all happening, I know. I'll do another screen share. Sorry, it just takes a bit longer. Okay, I worked that one out. All right, that didn't work. Okay, screen share, here we go. One of you yell out to me if it's not working. Can everyone see that? Thumbs up.
Lost the video there, Lynn.
I know. I'm here. Stop video.